what are the different protocols we have. Along with that, how are these connected, so all connected together, how are we able to browse the data, where is the data coming from. So that is all we are going to discuss. The second unit is all related to your networking concepts. So let's start the session today. Before we go any further, we have to first understand what the term network is. Network is just, in the morning class I just gave you a brief introduction, like if you have a single computer and it is connected to, and it is not connected to any other computer, then that is called a computer. But when two or more computers are connected in a network, then, or when two or more computers are connected together, then you call it a network. So the term network topology refers to the way in which the nodes of a network are linked together. Okay. So what do you call by topology? Just a minute. Pick one. Urgent?
I need that to install.
Wait 1 minute. Okay. So we were discussing about the network topologies and how many kinds of, like what do you mean by topology and all. So network topology means it refers to the way in which the nodes of a network are linked together. And then, although the number network topologies are possible, there are four, although there are number of network topologies possible, there are four major ones, that are multi-axis bus network, star network, ring network and completely connected network. So we have four different kinds of networks possible, and they are the major ones that are used in our day-to-day lives. So I hope you all understood what network is now. When we are connecting two or more computers together, that forms a network, and the topologies or the way in which they are connected, that refers to the topology. So the different connection of computers in the network and the various combinations, they refer to the topology, that is the network topology. Okay. And then the first thing that we will be discussing is multi-axis network bus. What do you mean by multi-axis network bus? It means there is a single, this is one kind of a network in which we are connecting the computers together. That is, in computer terms or generally in technology terms, whenever you find the word called node, that means it refers to a computer. Generally we call those any computer, or in the network when we have different computers connected, we call them nodes instead of computers. Okay, because computer generally refers to a single unit that is independent of any other activity or something like that, we call it. So whenever you are talking in a network terms, then you have to consider, or you can call networks as, you can call computers as nodes. Now we have different nodes in this network. So what are these nodes? Each node is a computer, and when you have a single line which is connected with different computers or nodes, then this is called multi-axis bus network. In multi-axis bus network, we only have a single line, and this is the network or the line to which all the different computers are connected. So what is happening here? Whatever data that needs to be transferred between these computers, that is only happening through this line. This line can be also known as a bus line. Okay, and multi-axis, that is why we call it multi-axis bus network, because in this is called a bus, and in this bus we are able to connect multiple networks, multiple nodes in this network. Okay. So before we go into this thing, let me give you a little more clarity about networks. Generally, if you have a computer, we have already, till today we were only discussing about the components of a computer and what are the processes that are done by the computer inside the computer itself, and what is the input that the computer is getting. It's the data. So we are only discussing about the input which is given as data to the computer, and what is the computer doing, how is it processing it, and how is it what kind of an output it is giving. So, this is what we were discussing. In this, the main thing over here is input data. Whether you write some program and give it to the computer, or whatever pre-installed programs you have, everything is data itself, because we are writing programs, and that these programs are also known as data that is sent to the computer. The same way, when you want to connect 2 or 3 computers in a network, then what is there should be some use, or there should be some reason for connecting them together. When we connected these networks when we connected these computers in the network, there should be some use, so that we have connected in a network. So, in such a case, the reason for connecting these computers in a network is that there should be transfer of data between these computers. When you have 3 different computers, computer 1, computer 2 and computer 3, when these 3 are connected in one network, then if we are able to interact from computer 3 to computer 1 and computer 2 to computer 3 or 1, whatever it is, all the different combinations where these 3 computers which are connected in the network should be able to interact between them and talk between them, and also transfer data between them. So, the networks are created just for the purpose of transferring data from one computer to another in the network. What all nodes or computers that are connected in the network, we should be able to transfer the data in that network to these nodes or computers. Okay. So, in such a scenario, what do you understand by topology? You have understood already network topologies, the different combinations in which we connect this network, so that we can transfer data among these networks, among these computers in the network, is known as topology, right? Network topology. Then we are seeing the different network topologies that are the first one is multi-access bus network. In this, there is a line, or you can call it as a data transmission medium. Whatever is this single communication line shared by all nodes, this path is there. You can call this whole path as data transmission medium. That means you are transferring data through this path to the whole network. So, let us assume this is computer 1. Okay. Let us assume this is computer 1, this is computer 2, 3, 4, 5. So, we have 5 computers or nodes that are connected in this network, in the multi-access bus network. Okay. Now, computer 1, this computer 1 wants to send data to computer 4. Okay. This computer 1 wants to send data to computer 4. I will draw this diagram otherwise, just a minute. Okay. So, we have to, when we want to send data from one computer or node to other computer, that is known as, that is why we require these networks, and that is called a computer network. Okay. So, what we have is, we have a bus network, and in this bus network we have different computers or nodes. Okay. So, fine. So, this is computer 1, this is computer 2, 3, 4, and this will be 5. Okay. So, we have 5 nodes connected together in the network. This is your bus network, bus topology. Okay. This is your bus topology. In this bus topology, what are we doing? We connected computer 1 to computer 5, all the 5 computers in this network. Okay, this will be a network, and you are transferring data through these points. Whatever are the points, you are transferring data. Okay, so through these points, otherwise wait. Okay, so whatever are these lines are used for transferring of the data in this network. So what is happening here? If I want to send data from computer 1 to computer 4, that is what we wanted to discuss, right? So node 1 to node 4. Okay, if you want to send node 1 data from node 1 to node 4, how will we send that? How will we identify that the data needs, when we want to send some data from node 1 to node 4, how will these computers identify that this node the data is not related to them, or it should be reached node 4? How will we know that? Okay, so we'll see how it works. Okay, now computer 1 is sending some data and it has to reach computer 4. So it starts traversing from this line, and through this connection it goes into the network and it starts fetching for the data, like the destination to send the data. This is the source, first computer is the source and fourth computer is the destination. Now from computer 1 it starts sending the data into the network, and the computer 2 checks if that data is related to it or not. When computer 2 checks for that data, there is some, you can call them like it has an ID, it doesn't match with this ID of this computer, and the computer rejects that data and it then gets transferred to the next computer that is connected in this network. The next computer that is connected in the network is computer 3. The computer 3 also checks for the ID with the data number, but it doesn't match it, then it rejects it, and then it goes to computer 4. Okay, in computer 4, what happens in computer 4? It matches the data that is there, and the data is received by computer 4. So what is happening over here? This computer, it's sending data, and when it's sending the data, for this data it is providing the ID number of fourth computer, not the first computer. Suppose let's say computer 1 has ID number 1, okay, computer 2 has ID number 2, computer 3 is having ID number 3, computer 5 is having ID number 5, and it's having computer ID number 5, and this is having ID number 4. So whenever this computer 1 is sending the data, it sends with the label as ID 4. That means whatever data is being sent by computer 1 in the network, it is mentioned that that data has an ID of ID number of 4. Where does this ID number 4 match in this network? It matches the computer 4 which is having ID number 4. So when data starts moving from this point to in the network, then it first reaches to computer 2. It will check if ID number 4 is matching with this. When ID number 4 is not matching, what it does, it will reject the package, and then it will go to ID computer 3. Computer 3 has an ID number 3, but is it matching with that? It doesn't match, so computer 3 also doesn't accept that data. When it comes to computer number 4, over here the computer number 4 checks if the data is related to it or not. When it checks ID number 4 is matching with it, it accepts the data and the data is received by this computer 4. Okay, so that is how all this happens. Why am I drawing all this is because if you understand one kind of a network topology, or if you understand one kind of a network, you will be able to understand all the others very simply. Okay, so what are we writing? What did we do here? We were sending some data from the first computer to the fourth computer. Suppose at the same time ID computer 3 is also sending some data to computer number 2. Then what will happen? This computer number 3 will create some, like whatever data it wants to send, it will give the ID number 2 so that it will reach the ID number 2 in the required format. So when computer 3 sends it, it will go to computer 1, it will check if it doesn't it doesn't match with the ID of computer 1, so it will then go to computer number 2, and over here it matches the ID, so computer 2 collects it. This way, whatever is the data being sent by whatever computer in the network, they all match themselves by the IDs they have. This is, I am just trying to give you a very basic example, but instead of IDs we have IPs and internet protocol addresses and all. We will see that all in the later section, but as of now just try to understand. This is a network. In this network there are multiple computers that are connected. These computers are known as nodes in the network, and when each computer wants to send some data to the other computer in the network, they will be attaching that computer's ID to which it has to reach, and that data is transmitted in the network through the help of these cables. These are known as your data transfer cables. So in these data transfer cables, they help you to send the data into the network, and in the network what all computers are there, they will try to match this ID number with their ID number. When it doesn't match, it will reject it, and the data keeps on like these computers keep on checking. At one point where the ID number matches with the computer, that computer will accept the data and the transfer is done over there. So this is how all this happens. And then we have seen the first one, that is multi-access bus network. If you have understood what this multi-access bus network is, it will be very easy for you to understand the other type of topologies we have. So what are the other topologies we have? The next one is star network topology. In star network topology, there is only one host node, or there is only one point to which all the other computers or nodes are connected. So what do you understand by this? We have something called one host node, okay, and this host node is providing different connections to the computer. Previously it was all like, it was only a bus network, and this bus had different connections, okay. Now we are having only one point, and through that point itself all the nodes are connected to each other, okay. In bus network you had different computers which are connected to this network, whereas in this star network we are having all the computers are connected to one point. So if you understood this concept where one computer wants to transfer some data to the other computer, then this is also similar to that, where what is happening here, this is star, okay, this is star network. What is happening in star network? If computer 1 wants to send some data to computer 5, then it has to first connect to that network, and in that network it will all these computers are sharing this network. So in this at this point, whatever computer that is identifying the data that is matching with this, it is sending some data, right? This has some, this wants to send it to ID 5, okay? It wants to send the data to ID 5. So where is that ID 5? This is ID 5 for us. This is ID 6. This is ID 4. This is ID 3. ID 2, and this will be ID 1. So when computer 1 is sending data, it wants to send data to the 5th computer or the 5th node, then it will have a label with ID 5 on it, and it transmits that data into the network. Once the data is in the network, these computers start checking if the ID number matches with this other data. Once the computer that has a match with the ID number, that computer accepts that data, and it stores the data whatever is sent by that other computer. So this is about star network, okay? And then we have, so in the star network, what are we having? We have only one point at which to which all the other computers are connected, and whoever wants to send data, they'll just put it into the main node or the point at which the data transmission starts. From this point, wherever it has to reach, that computer identifies that data and it will collect that data or it will accept that data. Next we have is ring network topology. What do you mean by ring network topology? In ring network topology, we have all the computers connected to one another, that is in a network, okay? So if you see this ring network topology, there at least each computer has two nodes connected to each other. Like suppose this is node 1. Node 1 has two more node connections in the network. The same way computer 2 has two node connections in the network. Computer 3 has two node connections, that is node 4 and node 2 in the network. Computer 4 has two more node connections in the network, that is node 3 and node 5. So and computer 5 that is having two more node connections, node 1 and node 4. So each and every computer in the network is having connections with each other, and each computer has two nodes connected to it. So they all form a big network. If it is just 5 nodes connected here, but if you just imagine it as a big network, then there will be so many computers or nodes that are connected in the ring network topology. And then this is the last one, this is completely connected network, or you can call it mesh network topology, okay? So what is happening in mesh network topology? In mesh network topology, each computer is connected to all the other computers in the network. That means, suppose we have, okay, suppose these are the 5 computers that we have, then each computer is connected to all the other computers in the network, okay? So one has how many connections here? It has 4 connections, okay? And how many does 2 have? 2 will also have 4 connections. The same way 3 will also have 4 connections, and 4 will also have 4 connections. When each computer is connected to all the other connections in the network, that is known as mesh topology, or your multi-connected topology, okay? Mesh network we generally call it. This is a mesh network, or you can call it as completely connected network topology. In this, what is happening? See, now we will be able to understand it easily, where this is computer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Computer 1 is connected to 2 as well as 3, 4, 5, all of them. Computer 2, it's connected already with 1, so it's connected with 3, 4 and 5. Computer 3 is already connected to computer 2 and 1, now it has to get connected with 4 and 5. Computer 4 is now already connected with 1, 2, 3, it has to connect with 5. Computer 5 is anyways connected with all of them, so it's already in the connected network. So this is how the mesh topology runs. And then after the mesh topology, we have hybrid network topology. What do you mean by hybrid? It is a combination of two or more connections or combinations you can call, okay. So in hybrid network, it has the ring topology that we discussed, the star topology that we discussed, and the completely connected or mesh topology that we discussed. When you club these three configurations of networks, it becomes a hybrid network. So suppose you have 3 labs. In all the 3 labs, you have to configure the network topology. Then the first lab can be considered as a ring network topology. From the ring network topology, from one node, we are sending the connection to the other lab. In that other lab, we only have 2 computers. So we are we have only 2 computers. So that's the reason we are connecting them into the star network. And from the star network, we are again connecting into the other lab, in which we have 4 more computers, and all these computers are connected. So the advantage with hybrid network topology is that if you want to send something from this room to the other room, then with the help of this network topology, you will be able to do it. And also in the same room, if you want to have 3 different topologies and connections, based on the configurations we want, we can set them, and we can have the transfer of data between them. And then let's move on to the next type, that is network types. So we have seen till now what are different topologies we have in the network, and what is the network, and how are the computers able to communicate and transfer data between them. Now after that, the next thing is network types. What do you mean by network types? Networks are broadly classified into 2 types: local area network LAN and wide area network WAN. There are other types of network types also, but the most important and the most used are the local area network and their wide area network. So let's see first what is local area network, that is LAN. And when we see the comparison as compared to WAN, local area network is limited to a very small geographic coverage area, okay, and it has much higher data transmission rate, experiences fewer data transmission errors, has lower data communication costs, typically owned by a single organization. First of all, let's try to understand what a local area network connection is. Local area network connection is, in a sense, it is only restricted to a very small geographical area, and the speed at which the network the data transfers in the network is very high, as well as there are very few transmission errors that happen because it's in the small geographical area, and which helps us to minimize or reduce the transmission errors, and has lower data communication costs. The cost to communicate between the network in that room or in that specific geographical area is very less, because we need to only have a limited area into which we'll be connecting with cables. And then typically owned by a single organization. Mostly in the small geographical area, whatever are the networks connected, they will be mostly owned by a single organization or an owner. So these are the characteristics of a LAN, local area network, whereas WAN, it's totally different. It is wide area network, that means it is in higher geographical area, like larger geographical areas. It doesn't have that high speed, it doesn't have that high transmission data rate, as well as there will be much more errors than the LAN in the data transmission, and so on. So after LAN and WAN, there is something that is called as MAN. We will see what it is. Networks that share some of the characteristics of both LANs and WANs are referred to as MAN, that is metropolitan area network. These are larger than when you compare to the LAN and WAN, and these are used in the network configurations for the cities. So we'll see all this in the internet diagram, where we'll try to understand how the website is trying to fetch data and how many stages it has to cross in order to fetch the data on the server that is there. and get the data for us loaded on the website. We'll see that in the diagram, then you'll understand much more clearly and you'll be able to differentiate between LAN, WAN and MAN. Okay. And then after that we have to see the communication protocols. What do you mean by communication protocols? First of all, protocol is a set of formal operating rules, procedures or conventions that govern a given process. Not only in computers or in networks, protocols are important everywhere. If we don't have a proper protocol for any process, then one or the other day that the rules or the way in which we are operating might be different, or it might cause some errors or issues for us. So, not only for computers, in the network also there are so many protocols according to which the networks act accordingly. So, protocol is nothing but a set of formal operating rules. How should the network operate, how should it, what are the rules that it needs to obey, and what are the procedures that it has to follow. And communication protocols describe rules that govern transmission data over communication networks. What do you mean by communication networks? When we have multiple computers connected in the network and they are communicating between them, that is known as a communication network. Okay. And these communication networks have certain protocols, because if they don't obey the protocol or they don't follow those protocols, there wouldn't be proper transmission of data possible in the network, and it would cause so many errors and it would lead to inefficiency in the network. Okay. So, what are the roles of communication protocol? We now understood what protocol is. It is a set of rules that need to be obeyed and followed that governs the given process. Okay. And then communication protocols, they are governing the transmission of data over the communication network. Whatever network we have, in that it is governing the transmission of data, and then we have some certain roles that this communication protocol has. What are the roles of communication protocol? Data sequencing, data routing, data formatting, flow control, error control, and also precedence and order of transmission, connection establishment and termination, data security, log information. These are the roles that communication protocol follows, and because of all these things we are able to have this high speed networks or such efficient networks being communicated between one and another. Okay. And then communication protocols are normally split into a series of modules logically composed of a succession of layers. Term protocol suite, protocol family or protocol stack are used to refer the collection of protocols of all layers of the network system. First of all, we now understood what a protocol means and what communication protocols are. So, next we have to understand the roles of the communication protocol. So, what is it? Communication protocols help us, and they play the role of data sequencing. They help us to transfer the data in sequences, and it helps us to reduce the losses that happen in the network. And then data routing, it helps us to set a path in which the data has to flow and to what destination it has to reach from the source. That is data routing. And data formatting, it has a certain format in which it collects the data and it transmits the data over the network. Flow control and error control. Flow control is where how is the data moving in the network, and then error control is it controls the errors that are being caused in the network and it tries to reduce them. Okay. And then precedence and order of transmission. Suppose in the previous diagram where we were trying to discuss that if computer 1 sends data to computer 4, at the same time if computer 2 is also sending to computer 4, and there is some other computer 5 which is sending to computer 3. So, there are so many operations that are happening in the network at the same time, or there are so many data transmissions that are possible at the same time in the network. So, this communication protocols help us and they play the role to form them in a queue, and they give them the order of precedence, that is which data should flow from which computer at first, and then what computer should send data next. That is all the precedence and order of transmission, in which order should the data be transferred in the network. And then connection establishment and termination. When the computer is connected in the network, how is it connected? Like when the computer is terminating in the network, what happens? And all these things are managed by the communication protocols. So, if a new computer is connected into the network, the communication protocols takes the role to identify that network and put it inside its network, and also add the activities that are required for that data transmission to that particular network. The same way it also understands when a computer is disconnected from that network, it will again update its set of nodes and it will act accordingly. And then data security and log information. Data security, it helps us to protect the data that is being transmitted over the network, as well as log information. Log information in the sense, the computers are maintaining a log of the information of all the errors that are happening, whatever data is transmitted from which network to which network, how are they happening, and what are the problems that it had while transmitting the network through the network. So these are the different roles the communication protocols follow. And then we have communication protocols are normally split up into a series of modules logically composed of succession of layers. We will see the OSI model of operating system, in which you will be able to understand how are they split up into a series of logically modules and what are the different succession layers that are available for us. And then term protocol suite, protocol family or protocol stack are used to refer to the collection of protocols. These two things are interrelated, and when you see the OSI model, you will be able to understand what are the different layers that we have and how is the data being transferred or transmitted over the network. And then we have network interface cards, generally call them NIC card. NIC, that is network interface cards. Hardware device that allows a computer to be connected to a network both functionally and physically. Printed circuit boards installed on to one of the expansion slots to the computer provide support on the back of to which computer network cable is attached. So we all know how we are connected to the internet with a LAN cable. Generally in the olden days, we used to only have a LAN cable with that broadband, where we had to connect to the modem. There was a wire that was connected to the modem, and from that modem we used to connect it to the computers. Later we had the technology of Wi-Fi, which helped us to have wireless internet, wireless network connections. But whatever it is in a college or in an organization, they generally connect it through LANs. LAN is a local area network which has connections through wire, where the data or where they are all connected in the network. So when we are connecting that wire to the network or to the computer, what will happen? That there will be a port on the computer to which we are attaching that cable so that we get the internet. So what is that port? Actually that is your network port, and that network port internally has this hardware that is installed in your computer. So when you are connecting that network to that network port wire, that network port inside the computer, it has a hardware device. That hardware device is called network interface card. Okay, what is it having? It is a printed circuit board installed to one of the expansion slots on the computer. It helps us to connect to the network. So whenever you are plugging in that wire to the computer, that wire is internally connected to this PCB or this printed circuit board, which is a hardware device that helps us to understand whatever data transmission is happening from this wire to the other computers in the network, and it communicates accordingly. So without network interface cards, you won't be able to connect to the internet through these cables. And then we have the OSI model. This is the model that I was talking to you about, and this is the diagram, the 7 layers of the OSI model, which help us to transmit the data between them, and they are the application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. Okay. So these are the different layers that we have, and with the help of the protocols that we have in each of these layers, we are able to transfer data. So when you saw the diagram, you must have at least have an idea of what this means. Communication protocols are normally split up in a series of modules logically composed of succession of layers. So then communication protocols are generally in this they are split into succession of layers, and each layer is having its own task of performing in the network. Okay. We'll see what these OSI layers are all in the next class. We'll start with the OSI model and then we'll see how we are connected to the internet and what are the connections happening inside the network. So that's all for today. Thank you.